father-son love story is the best LA story that is told. Reacher used Richard Beck as a springboard to find Xavier Quinn. After protecting Zachary and his kid from a phony coup by competitors, he became close to Zachary. Zachary, however, showed considerable resentment and even jealousy toward Reacher's intimacy with Richard in the previous episode. Zachary takes an opportunity to re-establish his relationship with Richard like he always should have after agreeing to assist Reacher in stopping Quinn. Richard to Zachary: Beck, you feel as though a light went out in you after your mother passed away. I'm only now recognizing that perhaps that's why I've been such a lousy father and son of a bitch. I did it intentionally. Perhaps losing someone like me wouldn't be as terrible if losing a great mother had caused you such pain. In fact, Richard's mother is still living in the book that served as the inspiration for the season. Zachary's decision to become a single father is motivated. In addition to increasing Richard's sense of vulnerability and alienation, it also adds a tragic element to their relationship's absence. Even if Zachary's admission that he was intentionally a bad father in order to spare his son pain defies common sense, it is nevertheless devastating. Although he is a gun runner, Richard gives him a model of a childhood toy handgun. Despite Zachary's terrible treatment of him, Richard showed empathy and compassion. This scene was significant since Quinn's terrorist purchasers are attending the party, and the chaos of the Season 3 finale is about to break out. Richard's father told him that he loved him and that he had everything he could ask for in a son. He asserts that Richard is a good person in spite of all the awful individuals in his life, including himself. Richard agrees, stating that his father is a decent man. This is untrue, although Zachary at least began attempting to be one when he promised negally he would assist Reacher. That's all it takes sometimes. Reacher's encounter with the ATF in the penultimate episode is the biggest surprise the show offers. For the first time in this season, most of the police officers in his immediate vicinity are not dishonest and contributing to the issue. The agent's dissatisfaction with Duffy and Villanueva is predictable. She's fortunate that none of them were put in jail for their covert inquiry, but the director informs Duffy he must disclose their behavior. Reacher, of course, is not one to tolerate being ignored. It causes him to do what may be the first genuinely foolish act he has done in 23 episodes. He intends to kill Quinn in front of a group of heavily armed ATF agents after purchasing a sniper weapon from a pawn shop. He would be fortunate in this instance to be taken into custody after eliminating his adversary. He would just as likely be killed if the agents opened fire on his position. Quinn ironically saves his life. Negally tells Reacher that the buyers are going to Beck's house since she was following them. As the program comes to a close, he knows that Quinn gave Zachary misleading information. Thus, he was in a position to probably save lives because of his nearly disastrous error. This moment gently highlights his desperation at Dominique Cole's death, despite being uncharacteristically careless. To bring her killer deadly justice, he was prepared to sacrifice his life. Fortunately, that won't have to happen. Although cliffhanger endings are nothing new to Reacher, the announcement in the previous episode that he and Susan Duffy were leaving for Los Angeles was unusual. Although the trip was exciting, it was only a diversion, and the most of the episode features former 110th Special Investigator Francis Neagley as a member of the Inner Circle. Reacher begins acting more rashly than normal as Season 3 nears its conclusion, but a double cross ultimately works out well. Season 3's penultimate episode is both expected and gratifying. By now, viewers are aware that Reacher and one of his buddies will engage in some sort of amorous liaison. They also know that Neagley will arrive if she isn't already there. It's interesting to note that Richard and Zachary Beck's relationship in LA Story is the greatest. After a tough season, the father and son finally have a heartwarming moment together. Additionally, the episode provides conclusive evidence that Duffy's missing source, Teresa Daniel, is still alive. The biggest surprise, though, is that Jack Reacher will have to save the day in front of the appropriate authorities for the first time. At last, Duffy and Guillermo Villanueva informed the ATF that their agent Annette had passed away. They cut them all out of the arrest, of course, which made Reacher act in an unusually stupid way.